Hey guys, this is Josh here with Trillium Wild Edibles. I'm out here doing a little walk today. It's about 70 degrees outside, which is really awesome for this time in March. Now this pretty little flower you guys are looking at is the flower of a spring beauty. There are two different types of spring beauty around. There's Carolina and there's Virginia. Both of them are usable in the same ways though. If you're looking through your Peterson field guides, you may see something talking about the corm, or the bulb if you will, of this plant and how it's edible. Surprisingly enough, though, that's not the only part that's edible on the spring beauty. Off my camera bug. The whole above ground part of the plant is also edible. These leaves, the flowers, and the flower buds are all edible. And they actually have a very good taste. And if we look around very carefully, we're going to see a lot more of these leaves coming up through the ground. Most of them aren't going to have their flowers, as you can see here. But you can see these little bitty leaves coming up. This is grass, don't worry about that. This is the leaves of spring beauty, as you can see here. Here we can see some more. We can see some more right back over here. And if we look very, very carefully in the area, we can see some very young leaves of cut leaf toothwort coming in. Now the root of this plant, or the rhizome of this plant, is also edible. However, you can also eat the top of the plant like these flowers, however, you can also eat the top of the plant like these leaves here before the flowers open. And what that means is here in the next week or two, we're going to be seeing all these pretty little flowers starting to come up. Most of them should be up here within the next week, but I don't know what the weather is going to do, whether it's going to get cold again or not. However, in your area, you really want to be careful and look at the ground, look really low, and you're going to see these beautiful little flowers, or these pretty little leaves. And like I said earlier, these are edible. You can just pick these off and eat them as they are. And that way you don't have to worry about digging down to the small little corm of this plant. So if we follow the stem of this plant down, we can actually see there's a couple stalks coming out of it. So we got to carefully move the dirt. Soil is very loose here. I'm going to stick my finger underneath. And I'm going to pull up slowly. And we should find the corm of this spring beauty. Okay, and I actually had to clean this off of camera because it took two hands for me to fully clean this off. However, you guys can still see the plant, the top of the spring beauty with the flowers and its leaves. And then here you guys can see the corm of the Carolina or Virginia spring beauty. And you can see just how small these are, and there's my index finger there for comparison. These things are very small. However, it wouldn't take a long time to gather a lot of them if you were in a good spot like I am right now. Each corm of the spring beauty can actually send up multiple stalks like you can see here. And that's going to be a really good way to tell if you've got a good size spring beauty, is because you're going to see multiple stalks coming up out of one corm. And that's how you can find the biggest corms of the spring beauty, so that way you're not wasting a lot of effort digging. Another really good thing about the spring beauty is like this one that I just dug up. I can just very simply put it back in the dirt and it's going to grow again. This plant will probably die as it is, but that's okay because this corm will still continue on. So we're just going to cover this back up. As you guys can see here by these huge spring beauty leaves, and again, there's my index finger. So there are some really good sized corms in this area, and there's a lot of these spring beauties. I've been walking for several miles, and all I've seen is spring beauty leaves. So you're certainly not going to be hurting, or you're certainly not going to be causing any ecological damage by digging some of these up to eat. However, like I said, if you want, you can also just use the leaves or the flowers, and you can just add those raw into your salads, and they do taste really good. Okay, now this plant that you guys see right here, this is a bull thistle. I talked about this plant last year. A lot of people hear a lot about thistles and how the leaves are edible, but you may notice the bull thistle is one of the... Now, a lot of people talk about how thistles and their leaves are edible, and you may notice on this bull thistle all of this hair and these spines. Now, some people, like, Ewell Gibbons, a famous forager, for example, has actually said that people will die of old age before they get all the spines off of the thistle. However, there's another part of the thistle that tastes very good that you can eat raw. Now to do that, we're going to avoid picking any of these leaves that are laying directly on the ground, and we're going to go with this leaf right here. So we're going to very carefully come in with our fingers. We're going to pluck the leaf at the base, After we pluck the leaf, you can see what we have here. You can see it's very fuzzy. It's got spines all along the margin of the leaf. The thing that we want to eat off of the thistle leaves, especially bull thistle, is this midrib, or the vein that runs down this leaf. This is a small leaf, but this midrib is very large for the size, and it's going to have a lot more calories than the leaf itself. So to do that, very simply grab the edge of the leaf by itself and just slowly strip it off. Just strip off all the leaf. Those thorns are going to come with it. Make sure you don't poke yourself. This is very easy to do without gloves, without getting poked. Alright, now let's finish this up by picking these few remainders of leaf off. Okay, and with what we have left here, the only thing that we have to remove now is the hair that's on this midrib. Very, very easy to do. Just grab it and pull it off with your fingers or your fingernail. Grab it at the base and just rub the leaf. You're going to see this hair come off, as you can see. All that fuzz is going to come right off. Spend a few seconds here. Make sure I go all the way down, all the way around. Try to get it all sides as possible. Now if we miss a few hairs, that's okay. It's not going to hurt anything. You won't even notice it. Okay, now that we have de-leafed and de-haired and thorned this thistle leaf, we're left with this delicious looking midrib. And this you can very simply just put in your mouth and eat as is. It's very crunchy, it's very juicy. It's actually reminiscent of celery in taste. Whenever the leaves get much larger, this ribs get very huge, and they would be very good inside of a salad, chopped up, similar to celery. Okay, now like I said, you can just simply take the midrib of the thistle leaf. My camera's not even facing, my microphone isn't facing me. That one was full of celery taste. That tasted so much like celery. Man, those things are really good. Really good. They're nice and crunchy. Like I said, they do taste reminiscent of celery. They don't taste like celery, but they taste similar. The taste will remind you of celery. So that's just one of the many uses of the thistle. Now the root of the thistle is also edible. However, I don't find it to be as good as the midrib. I just found out about the midrib of the thistle a couple weeks ago. And I tell you what, it is absolutely delicious. Every thistle that I've tasted tastes good. The bull thistle tastes the best so far in my experiences though. So I hope you guys try this out. And we'll show this a little bit more later in the year. I'll show me gathering the thistle midrib. So I thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it and I hope you learned something. If you want to learn more about edible or medicinal plants, make sure to subscribe.